ever look at this massive list of artifact sets and wonder which one of these actually is any good? Well, I definitely did when I was a new player, and I'm still kind of learning through all this stuff. But today we're gonna be looking at which ones of these artifact sets you kind of want to be caring about, aiming to be getting, and when you are gonna be getting any of these, you're gonna be happy about, right? So join me today on this video as we go through our tier list of artifact sets and which ones you want to be getting for your champions. So yes, of course, there is a hell of a lot of different tier sets, some of which will be available to you very early on in the game, as of course you go through the campaign and you're going to be getting them naturally. As you can see in the different stages of the campaign, you do have an artifact set that's going to be dropping from those levels in particular. So you get a little bit of everything and have access to whatever you choose to be trying to get early on. And as you can see, well, it's pretty easy and clear. You can of course go into the different stages and farm the specific sets, but that's not quite it. There's a lot more to it. Now as you go higher, you're gonna still be getting the same kind of stuff, as it's not gonna be changing as you progress through the levels. Those are still the same, but it goes a lot deeper than that. As you go back into the dungeons, you're gonna be seeing that there is even more sets, right? You have different sets you can get from the ice golem. You have different sets you're gonna be able to get from the spider. Of course, it's gonna be dropping the accessories, but you got more from the dragon's lair, and it just gets a little bit convoluted. Which one's actually important to me? Which one should I be trying to farm, right? Should I be farming the Fire Knight Castle? Should I be farming the Ice Golem? Or should I be farming the Dragon? So, let's look at a tier list. Freeze! Click the link in the description right now and get a free legendary Karato, as well as 2 free epics as you level up. So here's what you need to do. First of all, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Then click the link in the description of this video and register a brand new email. Launch raid and complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox and claim your first champ. You'll find Karato here, as well as Tagoar and Uugo as you progress through the game. This is an amazing account starting rate, so click the link right now and follow the steps. And if you are a Legend of Mushroom player, I also got a special link down there in the description. Don't miss out on this offer, go ahead and check it out now. So here we go, we are in hellhades.com, a very good website that I've really come to enjoy a lot after checking a little bit of it. And we're gonna be going through what the tier list has to say, right? A tier list is just gonna be giving you a general idea of what the artifact sets are kind of like ranked against each other, of course. And as you can see, there is a hell of a lot of different tier sets. There's just so goddamn many of them. We're gonna be obviously trying to point out the ones that you should be trying to get, because obviously they're gonna be up there, but the ones that are at the bottom really are not that obviously bad. Might have an idea that they are good or have some synergy with certain champions, but of course you will come to realization that at the end of the day there's some more important things than others. Some artifact sets are actually going to be worth your time, and that's the whole idea. So we got the S tier that's not that long, but you might just find out things that are going to be a little bit obvious. The higher tier sets are going to be a little bit harder to get. You will have stuff like, for example, this one dropping from the Hydra clan boss, which is the highest elite kind of content there is right now, and the people are really trying to find good builds to progress on this as fast as possible. It really is one of the harder ones to get, because, well, you're going to be getting a lot of stuff out of it. You're going to be getting different stuff depending on the amount you are equipping, because you can get up to 9 pieces on this set. You can get 80 resistance, max HP, max defense, stone skin buff. You're going to be getting so much good stuff out of this one specific set, but obviously it's not going to be an easy one to get, right? So let's move on to things that are going to be maybe even more on the league of a new player. I'm not saying that you cannot get any of the higher tier stuff over here, but it's just going to be a little bit less obtainable, right? And let's talk about the crafting system after a little bit. But yeah, obviously some of this tier stuff, it's going to be a lot easier to come by. For example, the speed set, that's something you're going to be able to find straight up just on your campaign. We are just going to easily be able to farm stuff that's going to be easily top tier out of just doing whatever, your Palace of Arabia, right? It's going to be an easy access kind of set, which, as you can see, is extremely powerful, right? Why is speed all that good? Why is it S tier? Because speed is one of the better stats in the game. More speed, you get your turn meter regenerated faster, you just have more turns. You're going to be able to overpower bosses and stages in the game and stuff, which is going to be allowing you to do more things before the boss even reacts, right? So it's just pretty damn simple to go ahead and farm it. You can also get it from the, it's obviously from the Dragon's Lair, as I was saying on Hell Hades. It does also come in specific events, like for example we have here on the Den, where you have a double chance of dropping. For example, here we have high elf accessories right now. You can also get a double chance of getting, or even triple chance usually of getting a very specific set from one of these types of content, right? So speed, one of the better ones, easy to obtain, easy to access to it. So you're gonna be getting stuff like Savage, very, very damn strong, for example, for champions like my Alice. And by the way, you can find out if any of these things are good for your champions or not if you go to hellhades.com and try to find out the set, or rather your champion, and then go ahead into the gearing section of it. You're going to be able to see what the recommended artifacts for it are. So, for example, for my attack champion here, Alice, well, this is exactly one that really suits her kit. A lot of the ignore defense is going to be making her a menace. She's going to be going over a lot of the stages very damn easy early on in the game. You're going to be able to do a lot of progress through arena, and straight up just basically bossing in general is going to be quite strong. Although she's not that good of a single target killer, but she does have a menacing kit to her. And straight up just putting one set, right, like the full 4 set of Savage on her, she goes up a massive notch, right? So this set does come from, in specific, if I'm not mistaken, does come from Fire Knight Castle. There we go, right? So you kind of get pointed out at the right direction here. The gear you're gonna be getting from the dungeons is always kind of just a little bit better, but not necessarily the best one, specifically if you're looking at gearing one champion in particular. So yeah, this is giving you an idea of what really you should be kind of aiming for if you're looking at some trash gear. For example, let's just go a little bit down here. Your accessories also to count for individual sets and stuff like that, although I don't have access to any of those right now. But yeah, you will just find on the trash tier that life is pretty damn bad. Right? In the bin, straight up, just get them out of the way, just throw them away. It might sound a little bit weird. Eventually, you will realize that there's better options to it, but if you are early in the game, this is the kind of stuff you're going to be getting the easy access to, and of course, that just kind of means that there's going to be better options as you progress through it, but that doesn't mean that it's negligible, right? If you have a champion which needs to have a set and needs a beefy tank kind of champion, a 2-piece set of HP on him is going to be making it beefy, right? It's not to say that you are not really supposed to be investing heavily into upgrading an HP set. Just like offense is really a very lackluster kind of set, and so would be stuff like, for example, Daze, stunning or putting a sleep debuff on your enemies really kind of doesn't have the best combination here. Yeah, you're really just not gonna get the most out of it when you can make your character more powerful elsewhere with other kinds of sets. On the frenzy side of things here, for example, I didn't even knew this one existed, honestly. +5 turn meter for each debuff received. As you can see, this just kind of goes with it. It's not an easily accessible set. It's from the Fire Knight's Castle. It just kind of doesn't really have a use to it, right? So as you can see, going through a little bit of this tier set is obviously going to be pointing you towards the right direction of, is this kind of gear useful? Am I want to be wanting to keep it around, or should I just be selling it? Of course, depends on the stage of the game you're at. If you just want to be putting together some tier sets like I am kind of right now, where I don't have the most gear, I definitely want to be going ahead and doing some farming. Putting together a set on a character is going to be good enough, but not really. Obviously, I want to be going for the stuff that's good, the stuff that really is going to be putting my characters out there. And for example, for the case of Elhain, that is definitely a little bit of lifesteal, because she does a lot of AoE damage. Not all sets are equal in all types of content, for example. A place where, for example, lifesteal will be very damn powerful is the clan boss, because there's so much healing requirement that needs to be done over the boss's lifespan as he does more and more damage. But definitely go ahead and check out Hell Hades if you really want to know exactly the kind of gear that you are supposed to be getting for your character. But don't base your opinion too much on the stuff, for example, you're getting here in the in-game recommendation section. You're going to be getting prompted or pointed at things like just put an offense onto it and some crit rate. That's going to be working fine, but that's not the best thing you could potentially get out of the character. This is not kind of like a mid-game, end-game kind of recommendation. If you're really just like looking at potential things that I want to be looking for, which is really the idea of this whole video, is that what could I even sell, or what do I kind of want to be farming, then looking at those recommendations is kind of not going to be getting you there. So on that note, this also serves a little bit as a guide of what do you want to be selling, right? If you can just go ahead and filter stuff that's trash, obviously that's always going to be a good way of thinking about it. If whatever I am just like stacking up in my bank, if my filters are not set up already when I just drop stuff and definitely don't want it, I don't even have any of this stuff. That's why I was wondering, how is it possible that I don't have any of that? But there we go. If you just go ahead and sell some of the crap that you're seeing in this tier list that really doesn't make any sense to you, then well, that's also going to be going a good way of going ahead and getting some extra silver. Now, a lot of the good stuff and the better stuff is going to be coming from crafting. Yep, some of these sets are going to straight up just come from the crafting system, and that is another thing that's actually really just convoluted, because you're going to be getting very finite resources on the crafting system early on. You will be getting some from rewards from events and stuff, but for the most part you're going to be needing to farm a lot of PvP for the ingots. You're going to be needing to do a lot of faction wars for the specific kind of gems, as well as just farming some events in general and going to the clan shop and buying some of the hammers here, right? The core hammers, which will be required for some of the specific sets and not for others. For the most part, it's really going to be PvP and the faction wars that you really want to be putting a lot of time into, right? So, yep, there is tiers to the tier sets, as it kind of makes sense. And then there is best tier sets or recommended tier sets for the specific champions, as it also kind of makes sense. But the way to go about them really is just to focus on the place where you want to really be farming, because a lot of this stuff will be quite hard to obtain unless you are really focused farming. And if you are going to be going for something that's a little bit just generally farming gear, like I thought about doing a lot as a new player, just to go to the dungeon system and think, okay, well, I kind of don't have any sets of gear that I kind of want, so let me just go ahead and farm a little bit of Dragon's Lair, because might as well do so and maybe get something good in the meantime. At least set your filters to something that makes sense. Only keep the stuff that kind of be potentially good in general, right? Like a high tier set, and sell away the crap. But all in all, this is kind of as far as we can go without getting too specific into individual champions. If I was to be looking, for example, for my Alice tier set, as I was mentioning before, then you can go for a little bit of the recommendations that you can find in Hell Hades. And yep, we got extra lethal savages I was already kind of equipping here, the cruel stuff and all of that. You can go and try and farm those. That would be the ideal world. But yep, as a general kind of rule of thumb, if you are looking for some sets that might be worth keeping around and stuff that's like trash and just go ahead and sell, this tier list is a good way of going about it, and it's also a good way of kind of just pointing out where that gear is obtained from, so you can kind of make an idea of what stuff is actually good in the game. So just take things with a little bit of grain of salt, and don't think about the recommendations on Hell Hades too hard, nor about the recommendations that you get from the in-game system. They are a good way of just simply putting some gear onto a champion, but at the end of the day, you don't really want to be doing that and randomly equipping your champions with trash, because when you want to be removing it, you're going to be having to pay a fine for it. If it's like low tier stuff just to get it running, that is fine, but as you are putting like 4, 5, 6 star stuff onto them, it's gonna be pretty damn costly, right? So take a look at the tier set list, try and find a proper guide that actually shows you the higher level gear that would really be suiting that champion. Find that champion in action, really, because I can't really get into too specifics. There's so many different combinations of gear that's good on champions and specific champions, but really just don't really focus too much on straight up just putting whatever is being recommended over here. It's probably just gonna be a bunch of trash. Of course, that's also gonna be depending on like the whole comp you're running with that champion, if it's going to be fulfilling a specific role. But overall, yep, this is kind of what my 2 cents could amount to in this case. If you are struggling to really find kind of the gear to go for, aim for the higher stuff, aim for the higher tier stuff. Don't just craft random stuff. Think about it a little bit better. Farming this is going to be taking you a long time, so faction wars, something you need to be thinking about for sure. PvP, do your PvP for your ingots. And overall, yes, think about the dungeons and specifically doing them during events where there's a drop fever going on. When you see that there's a set that you really need for a specific champion, you are upgrading. Otherwise, obviously, you will get gear from many different aspects of the game, and eventually you're going to be getting it. But if you focus farm it and farm the right stuff, it's always going to be a lot better. So that's as far as I will go on this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Before you go, please go ahead and also check out Aptoide if you haven't done so yet. Now, Aptoide is going to allow you to do the following. You're going to be accumulating bonuses when you do purchases in the game. For example, right here, I will be accumulating a bonus that can go from extra 10% all the way up to extra 35% of the amount of money that I'm spending. And once you do have enough of the bonus, you're going to be able to spend it instead of actually using your real money. So as you can see, the potential for savings is insane. If you have a 35% bonus, you can eventually just get so much money out of doing your regular purchases that you are just going to be able to afford so much more, right? This is going to be scaling with things like, for example, using my code, which is going to be down here in the description, as well as down here on the screen. And well, if you want to be finding out more about all this stuff, there's going to be a guide down there in the description where you will be able to find how to install the whole thing on your Android device as well as on an emulator on your PC. So if you got any questions, let me know down there in the comment section. I'll be gladly trying to answer them for you. And that's pretty much all there is for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in this one. Bye bye. See you.